You want a quick and simple project that you can make this fall to sell for the Halloween season? Stick around, I'll show you how I use these cutoffs from cedar fencing to make some awesome projects that are selling like hotcakes. I put them up on the internet on Facebook and I've gotten a ton of messages about them and they are going fast. So stick around and I'll show you how quick and easy these are to make. All right, here we are in Vectric 10.5. I haven't upgraded to 11 yet. What I've done is I've broken my workspace up into the front and the back of each piece. So I'll show you this layout on the machine here in a few minutes, but what I've got is 4 fronts and 3 backs, so this back will be blank. So I'm going to select both sets of tool paths, come over here, do a preview on the visible. Check times, 3 minutes, minute and a half, so not too bad. Export them to my G code. And take them to the machine. Alright, so today we're going to use the Legacy 4x8 Maverick with auto tool change. Great thing about this is you could do this on any size CNC. I'm only using a very small portion of the bed on this one. This could even be done with a drill and a scroll saw. So this could be maybe even a bandsaw. So bandsaw might be a trick, but scroll saw would be easy. So this is going to be a project anybody can do. What I've already set up is I've already set my XY datum point here at the center between the 4 boards. So the boards will actually be set out like this. These do vary in width a little bit, so that's why I went with the center bottom as my XY datum, because if there's a little bit of width offset and I put my XY here, what that's going to do is distort that across the distance variation in all 4 boards. So it's going to magnify that 4 times. That could be offset really far, up to about a ½ inch, and that's going to look bad. What I found is by centering that, the most that's going to be offset by is 1 board variance, so we could be maybe a ¼ inch off in worst case scenario, so that actually looks decent even when they come out. So I'm going to set that up, get my width there. I'm going to use a square. I've got a ridge cut into my spoil board, or left from my spoil board from when I surfaced it, so that actually sits square there. I'm going to take 2 of these, slide those right to the end there. So now I know exactly where this needs to be, so I can press that board up against that one, and then stack these. I'm using double-sided carpet tape for this project. It gives me all the hold down I need. I just do 3 strips of it. And it looks like it's time to order another roll. I'll just have to get on Amazon and order some more of that. And I'll do you the favor of putting a link in the description below for that too. I'm just taking this last piece and making sure there's enough for each of the 4 boards to at least get a little bit on top. Originally I was going to cut these into 8 boards and just pre-cut them, but I've decided that if I cut them afterward, that gives me a lot more hold down because I'm using it as a consolidated single board. Make sure we didn't get off our XY there. Okay, we're solid on our XY. Make sure this is all really well pressed. So this is not the first set that I've done taped down like this, and generally works out pretty well, but ouch, in retrospect, maybe it's not the best idea to use even really good sticky tape on fuzzy wood that's got a propensity for warping. So be careful. As you notice, I grabbed the board and pulled it away from the machine, letting the bit cut through it so it would not become a projectile. I figured I could save the other 3 boards, and they, as we'll see in a second, they ended up turning out pretty well. You do need a little bit of clean out. So we got some good silhouettes. This one, a little bit right here in the center, the brim of the hat broke. I'm not sure if that was probably just too thin. I mean, with this soft wood being that thin right there, not a lot of chance that's going to hold on, but I can just clear this out and make that hat one piece, and I think that'll be just fine. This was a new design that I did on special request, so I'll check with the customer, see. I think she's gonna be really happy with that. So overall, 3 out of 4 worked really well. This one, we'll toss that one in the scrap pile. I am gonna be able to reuse this wood for other parts. And let's look at the other parts and the rest of the process. All right, here we are at the table saw. First thing I need to do is cut these down to length. I need them 9.5 on the front and the back. So what I'm gonna do is I've set this to 2.5 on this side, which gives me 9.5 over here. And just slide that up. Clamp that down there. Now I've got a 9.5 inch stop. Eventually I'll get a flip stop and do this right, but when you don't have, you do. All right, let me plug the saw in. Okay. All right, too easy there. I've got my fronts and backs ready. Now what I need to do is get my sides ready. So 4 sides, I just need a couple of pieces. All right, so I got some pieces. First I'm gonna go through and make sure I've got a couple of solid pieces. Don't think that split's gonna disqualify it, but we'll see how the rest of these look. That one's good, good, good. Good. We'll save that for something else. Those sides need to be the same length as the top and bottom. Correction, sides need to be the same length as the front and back. Tops and bottoms will be significantly smaller. Switch over to workbench mode. This replaceable knife blade, these things are just fantastic. I'll throw a link in the description down below. It was actually Stumpy Nubs that put me onto these things. Really great for doing marking lines or just little tiny bit of cleanup trim. Get a lot better durability than I do out of a box cutter. A lot sharper blades too, for a lot longer. Beautiful, or beautiful. Just a little tiny bit of pressure to hold everything in place, keep it from slipping. Square it up a little bit, and I'll take my brad nailer. Got the box nailed up. Now we need a lid and a bottom plate. Okay, for bottom plate, because I didn't cut these all dimensional, each one's going to be a little bit different size. So I will cut each one of these custom. Fits nicely. Let's see how much difference our top is. Top is a little bit smaller, and so I'm going to cut the top right now also, but top doesn't have to be a snug fit because this is an inside of the top, so I'm going to actually bring that out just 1/8 of an inch off the stop. And now that's got plenty of room to fit. Take the bottom. I'll take a couple of scrap pieces and stick them underneath it. Set this on it. And what I'm doing is, I don't want these flush on the bottom, because then if it's a little bit bowed, it'll rock. And I want to get those brads a little bit further away from the edge. So I put it in, and then set it on those, put it down. Now I know how far off the bottom it's going to be, and it's going to be flat all the way around. Now come in, adjusted height, and guess. I said I was guessing. So popped one through, not a big deal, it's inside. There's gonna be a candle in there, or a fake candle, but it's never gonna show, so I don't even know if I'll worry about pulling that one out. Now for the top, we've got this inside piece. This is what's gonna hold it centered in there. Now we need a actual top piece. And this one, got a nice bit of weathering there, so that'll look good as the top piece. Could use one of those, but that one's split, and that one's cut on both sides. Oh, that's the back for that one, isn't it? Front and back for that one. All right, need to measure, make sure we get the right width. This is going to fit this way. So it's equal width here because they're same boards, but I need a length there. So I'm just going to use the box itself. give me my gauge there. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we are going to attach this to this. This is the bottom. That's going to go that way. And so that will be the lid. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to use some Starbond thick CA glue and Starbond accelerator and a couple of clamps. So we're just going to use a heaping serving of Starbond, focusing out here because I'm putting the bow or the crown down. Judge it there. Square it a little bit better. Pin one side, it's got that crown there. So I'm going to pin that other side. And I've got enough CA glue on there. This is just to keep it oriented side to side, so I'm not too worried about that crack right there. So now we'll let this dry for a couple minutes. And we will go over and make a stem for this with this one. I just freehand cut each one of these at the bandsaw, but one thing you want to watch for is existing splits, because if that breaks, that's going to cause problems down the road. So I'm just visualizing the shape of a stem there. Going to make that entire height, the entire height of that. And there we have a pumpkin stem. Back to the table saw. This should be solid now. It's had a couple minutes to dry. And that stuff doesn't take long. Make sure that fits on there well. Fits better that way than the other, so I'm going to plant it in that way. And all I'm going to do here put copious amounts of CA glue on this end of the stem. This is end grain, so that's, I'm going to let that soak in for a minute, but I put enough on there it's not going to dry. And then we want to make sure this grabs well. So we're going to stomp that on there. Let that grab. Grab a little candle light or tea light. These ones are waterproof and multicolor. So pretty straightforward. Couple of things I have found that brighten that up. One thing is I have spray painted white paint on the inside back here, gives a little bit more glow. Another thing I'll do is just take a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, kind of do a half roll on it and put that down in there, and that creates a nice diffuser, so it gives it a much wider light. And I'll show you a couple of pictures of those as we go. But there we go. Quick, simple. You can put a little bit more time in them, charge a little bit more for them, or you can keep them quick and simple and sell lots of them. I like to be able to knock them out. I can do about 4 of those in an hour, and probably refine that down a little bit quicker as we go. We do have some that, you know what, maybe they mess up here, maybe they mess up on the CNC, so there's some loss built in there. But if I wanted to, I could do a program that I could run 12, 14 of these at the same time, and that'd probably cut my time down a little bit. But the great thing about it is if you cut them in half first, you could do this size thing on any CNC out there. The first CNC I had an 11 by 15 bed, and I could have done this on that. I would have had to do this, and then if I was doing a back, do the back separately. But to do one side, you could do that on the CNC, or even that on the scroll saw, and then knock these out. Really easy project that turn out really well, and they are really popular. Hey, thanks for sticking around. It's been a great couple days. I realized the process was a little bit clunky. I am working on refining that to where we can smooth the process, speed it up. If you have any ideas on helping me do that, please comment below. That'll really help me out. I'm also looking at putting together a video that's gonna highlight some of the things I've done to smooth it out. If you're interested in seeing that, please make note of that also. I am gonna show some of the finished product in a few pictures, so stick around for that. And I did put some links in the description below for my Amazon products, the knife and the tape, and we'll see you in the next video.